In 2371, the USS Voyager was transported from Federation space far into the depths of the Delta Quadrant. Over the course of the next 7 years, it made its way home, becoming one of Starfleet's most legendary vessels along the way, as chronicled in Star Trek Voyager. Voyager did make it home in 2378, but what happened to its crew after that? We've seen more from some of Voyager's characters in Star Trek Picard, Prodigy, and Lower Decks, but there's also plenty of stories from the extended media about them as well. In this video, we'll give you a rundown on what happened to the members of Voyager's main crew after their long-awaited return home. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host, Captain Jack. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then hit that subscribe button for more stories from the final frontier. Click the links in the description to join our Discord server or find us on social media. If you're interested in supporting the channel, click the join button for some extra perks and a chat with the Trek Central crew. Again, you can find all these links below, and while you're there, consider checking out Trek Central's Patreon and supporting us on there to help make these videos. Okay, engage. As a quick note, before we dive into this video, we'll cover the events following Star Trek Voyager. To save time, we won't recap what happened there. You can go and watch that for yourself. We'll also talk about the extended media, mostly from books, comics, and video games. Therefore, we may not have footage and we'll use reference content instead. Also, this is a brief summary of the Voyager crew. If you'd like to see a bigger video on certain characters, let us know in the comments. Okay, let's go. Let's start with the captain herself, Kathryn Janeway, the captain of the USS Voyager. Upon her return to the Alpha Quadrant, Janeway was promoted to Vice Admiral and stationed at Starfleet Command for a time, as seen in Star Trek Nemesis. By the early 2380s, Janeway had become one of Starfleet's most decorated officers. In 2384, she took command of the USS Dauntless as part of a mission to locate the missing Captain Chakotay and his experimental starship, the USS Protostar. As seen in Star Trek Prodigy, Janeway and her crew were ultimately able to find the Protostar, but there was no sign of Chakotay. Instead, the ship had been taken over by a group of kids from the Delta Quadrant, and its original crew was still missing. Janeway would later take these kids under her wing and bring them aboard the USS Voyager A, which Janeway commanded in a following mission to rescue Chakotay. After a series of further misadventures, which involved stopping a temporal paradox that threatened to destroy the universe, Janeway successfully recovered Chakotay. Upon returning to Earth in 2385, Janeway attempted to retire early, only to be recalled following the android's synth attack on Mars. In the following years, as Starfleet became increasingly isolationist, Vice Admiral Janeway vigorously protested its policy change. Despite this, Janeway was promoted to Full Admiral by 2401, and according to Star Trek Online, she was still active in Starfleet in 2409. Hey, maybe one day we'll actually get that Star Trek Janeway series, just saying. In Star Trek's expanded media, Janeway originally met with much a different fate. The Next Generation novel, Before Dishonor, established that Janeway was assimilated by the Borg in 2380, before being killed not long after. The novel Full Circle confirmed Janeway's death, but the Voyager novel, The Eternal Tide, had Janeway resurrected by the Q in 2381, following which she married Chakotay. Prodigy and Picard have since overwritten pretty much all of this, although it is still possible that Janeway and Chakotay married, most likely after the events of Star Trek Prodigy. By the way, I recommend you read these books. We will leave links down to the ones we mention in the video description. Star Trek's extended adventures, which take place in some of these fantastic books we've mentioned, are great stories. Again, if you'd like to hear more about them, you can check them out with other links in the video description, and also if you'd like to hear more about them from us, let us know in the comment section, and perhaps we'll take a more in-depth look at these adventures on your screens very soon. Let's talk about Chakotay, Voyager's first officer. Chakotay and the other former Marquee members in Voyager's crew were officially pardoned and welcomed back into Starfleet upon his return to the Alpha Quadrant. He was promoted to captain, and according to the extended media, he replaced Janeway as Voyager's captain after she transferred to Starfleet headquarters. In canon, in 2382, Captain Chakotay was put in command of the USS Protostar, which was dispatched on an exploration mission to the Delta Quadrant. During this mission, the Protostar was brought decades into the future by a temporal anomaly, and the ship found itself targeted by the Valnokat, a Delta Quadrant species that blamed first contact with Starfleet for sparking a devastating civil war. The Protostar was boarded by the Valnokat android soldiers, the Dreadnoks, and Chakotay was taken prisoner. Only one other member of his crew survived, and Chakotay was forced to send the Protostar back through the temporal anomaly to prevent the Valnokat from using it to destroy Starfleet, trapping himself in the future in the process. Chakotay was eventually rescued by Vice Admiral Janeway and the group of Delta Quadrant kids that had originally discovered the protostar, as we mentioned earlier. He then took command of the USS Voyager A after Janeway decided to retire. As far as current canon goes, that's where his story leaves off. In the extended media, Chakotay got married to Janeway after she was brought back by the Q, as discussed earlier. Chakotay was also given command of the USS Voyager once being promoted to the rank of captain. He would command Voyager in the Borg invasion of 2381. By 2401, in Star Trek Online story, he had been promoted to Admiral, and in 2406, he became the head of Starfleet Intelligence. Moving on, Lieutenant Commander Tuvok, Voyager's second officer, was promoted to Commander not long after Voyager's return. In the years that followed, he served as a Starfleet investigator and as Chief of Security aboard the USS Dauntless. By 2401, he had been promoted to Captain and was stationed at Starfleet headquarters. In 2401, as seen in Star Trek Picard, Tuvok was abducted by the Changelings as part of a joint Changeling-Borg plot to destroy the Federation as revenge for their people's past defeats. Tuvok was kept alive so the Changelings could use him as a source of information, but his duties at Starfleet headquarters were taken over by a Changeling infiltrator. This infiltrator was eventually outed by the command crew of the Enterprise D and 7 of 9. Tuvok was eventually rescued. He returned to his duties at Starfleet shortly thereafter. Oh, and he also promoted 7 of 9 to captain. According to the extended media, Tuvok had a pretty colourful career between his return in 2378 and his abduction in 2401. After his return, he did a short stint teaching at Starfleet Academy before signing up with Starfleet Intelligence, which did send him to Romulus around the time that Shinzon seized power there. In the chaos of Shinzon's coup, Tuvok was captured, although he was soon rescued by the USS Titan. According to the Titan series of novels, Commander Tuvok then became one of the Titan's senior officers. In Star Trek Online, Tuvok is shown to have become a Rear Admiral by the 2410s, after the events of Star Trek Picard, and as a Rear Admiral, he took Voyager, the original, as his flagship. Voyager's helmsman, Tom Paris, was also promoted upon Voyager's return, this time to the rank of Lieutenant. Canon doesn't establish much about what happened to him after this. Lower Decks does show him doing a handshake tour to raise Starfleet morale, while Prodigy establishes him that he was involved in redesigning the Mark II Nova flyers, but that's about it. The extended media adds a bit more to Paris' story. It established that he and B'Elanna stayed together after returning home, and eventually had a second child. And it's also established that, by the time of Star Trek Online, Paris had made it to the rank of captain. In Star Trek Online, Captain Paris is shown as commanding the USS Mercury, and he's also established as the leader of Delta Flight, a task force of the best pilots in Starfleet, the Klingon Defense Force, and the Romulan Republic forces had to offer. Oh, and there's also other stories in the books where he eventually was made first officer of the original USS Voyager. B'Elanna Torres, Voyager's chief engineer, was pardoned for involvement with the Marquis and given a Starfleet commission as a full lieutenant upon Voyager's return home. After that, all that's established in canon is that she did serve a stint aboard the USS Dauntless as chief engineer in the mid-2380s. In the extended media, however, B'Elanna spent the years after Voyager's return protecting her infant daughter from various Klingon groups, some of which saw her as the future saviour of the Klingon people, and some of which, of course, wanted to kill her. As recounted in the Voyager novels, poor Muriel Paris endured more kidnapping attempts than the Solo twins, and it fell to B'Elanna to rescue and protect her daughter. She and Tom ultimately concocted a plan to fake B'Elanna and Muriel's deaths to keep the Klingon fundamentalists away, and while officially dead, B'Elanna joined the Project Full Circle fleet on its mission to the Delta Quadrant. During this mission, B'Elanna helped care for refugee children from Borg territory. By 2381, B'Elanna had returned home after Q erased the Klingon fundamentalists that were hunting Muriel from existence, and after her return, she had a second child with Tom Paris. Thanks, Q. Ensign Harry Kim, Voyager's operations officer, ultimately never made it to the rank of junior lieutenant, because, upon Voyager's return, he was promoted directly to full lieutenant, an appropriate consolation for 7 seasons worth of injustice, let's be honest. Apart from that, all that is established in canon is that Lieutenant Harry Kim also served a stint aboard the USS Dauntless in 2384. In the expanded media, Lieutenant Kim initially continued to serve on Voyager as Captain Chakotay's Chief of Security, and by the 2400s, he was serving as Chief of Security aboard Starbase 11. Star Trek Online shows that Kim made the rank of Captain sometime in the early 2400s. He was put in command of the USS Rhode Island, and later the USS Ionu. As Captain of the Rhode Island, Kim served as Starfleet's envoy to the Kabali, a Delta Quadrant species. Next up, we have 7 of 9. Seven, of course, was featured quite extensively in Star Trek Picard, which established that she attempted to join Starfleet upon Voyager's return, but her application was initially denied. She instead joined the Fenris Rangers, a peacekeeping force operating along the Romulus neutral zone. In 2399, Seven joined the crew of La Serena, and over the course of the next 2 years, she accompanied Jean-Luc Picard on various adventures, as shown in Star Trek Picard. In 2401, after helping Picard defend human history from Q's interference on a trip to the 21st century, Seven was finally allowed to join Starfleet at the rank of Commander. She served as first officer aboard the USS Titan A, a position she used to help Picard and William Riker commandeer the Titan to locate Beverly Crusher. On the course of this mission, Seven, Picard and Riker uncovered a joint Borg-changing conspiracy to destroy the Federation, and she played a pivotal role in thwarting this conspiracy and finishing off the Borg for good. Following this, Seven was promoted to captain and given command of the Titan, now rechristened the USS Enterprise G. Seven also had a colourful post-Voyager career in the extended media. According to the novel Before Dishonor, Seven initially became a civilian instructor at Starfleet Academy and joined a Federation think tank. Star Trek Online established that Seven joined Starfleet as a member of a specialised Borg task force, but she left Starfleet for the Daystrom Institute in 2385, following the task force being disbanded. She would later work alongside Starfleet in a provisional role under Admiral Tuvok during a war against the Undying in the Delta Quadrant. Moving on, let's talk about the best chef in the house, Mr. Neelix, Voyager's resident cook and expert on the Delta Quadrant. Neelix, as you may remember, chose to stay behind in the Delta Quadrant as a Starfleet ambassador in Voyager's final season, though he would remain in contact with Voyager. Canon actually hasn't established anything about what happened to Neelix after that, but the extended media established that Neelix continued to serve as Starfleet's ambassador to the Delta Quadrant. He appeared in his capacity in Star Trek Online, in which he helped the Federation and its allies form an alliance with Hazari and worked with Admiral Tuvok to find a new Talaxian homeworld in around the 2410s. Apart from that, very little has been established about Neelix's post-Voyager career. Would you like to see more of Neelix? I'm sure we all would. Lastly, we have the Doctor, the Voyager's emergency medical hologram. In canon, he shows up in Star Trek Prodigy, which revealed that he served on the Voyager A under Janeway on a mission to rescue Chakotay. He would continue to serve aboard Voyager under Captain Chakotay. In the extended media, the Doctor fought for and secured legal rights for himself and other sentient holograms, and he joined a Federation think tank alongside 7 of 9. He later became the Chief Medical Officer for the Project Full Circle Fleet. During his service with the Full Circle Fleet in the Delta Quadrant, the Doctor tended to Admiral Janeway after she was resurrected by the Q. During the 2380s, he fought a legal battle with Starfleet over possession of his mobile emitter, which he eventually won. The Doctor was still around by the early 2400s, and in the 2410s, he was serving the Delta Quadrant as part of a humanitarian relief effort. Oh, and also, he'll probably appear in the upcoming Star Trek series, Star Trek Starfleet Academy. Yes, Robert Picardo is slated to return, so we've got that to look forward to. That about wraps it up for the main cast of Voyager, at least as far as current canon goes. We would, of course, love to see more series about these characters in the future. There are surely more stories involving Admiral Janeway, Rear Admiral Tuvok, Ensign Harry Kim, and all the rest just waiting to be told. If you want to keep up to date on the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to do that by hitting the subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. You'll find all these links below, and while you're there, consider checking out Trek Central's Patreon and supporting us on there to help make these videos. For now, I've been Captain Jack, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.